There are several ways that we can find slope. The first way that we learn how to find slope is by looking at the graph of a linear equation. Remember, slope is specifically a linear thing. Slope is how steep or how flat a line is. So when we look at the slope, we're looking at two things. We're looking at the rise over the run. Now, this can be kind of a confusing concept because, like, you think when you rise, you're only going to go up. But what that means is rise is going to be up or down. So rise is going to be moving along the y, and run is going to be side to side along the x. So first we're going to figure out how much we went up or down, then we're going to figure out how much we went side to side. Now there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but you have to remember that direction matters. And just like with anything, when we look at direction on a number line, directions have a sign associated with them. So if I'm rising and I'm going up, that's positive rise. If I'm going down, that's negative rise. When I'm going side to side, if I'm moving right, I have positive run. If I'm going left, I have negative run. So it doesn't matter if you go, which direction you go between the points. What matters is that you make sure that you put the correct sign on them. So the first thing that I think is important to do, just as a reminder, because rise over run, when we plot points, we plot them as x, comma, y. But when we rise over run, we move along the y and then the x. So I think it's important to actually write down rise over run. And then we're going to figure out how we move between these 2 points. I like to go left to right, but you really can go either way you want to. So I'm going to draw, what I'm looking for is, slope is like a set of directions, okay? Slope tells me how do I move between points on this line. So I'm trying to figure out how do I get from this point to that one, okay? So to get to this point, I have to go down 1, so down is minus, and I moved 1 space. And then to get to the other point, I go 1, 2, 3, right. Right is positive, so negative 1 over 3. Now, we usually leave slope as a fraction because slope is a fraction. Now, I want to point out to you that if we had, instead of going from this point to this one, if we had gone the other direction, we could have done, I'm going to write down another rise over run here. We would have gone up 1, back 3, which is minus 3, 1 over negative 3, and negative 1 over 3, they still both work out to a slope of negative 1/3. If you put them in your calculator and then simplify that fraction, they still come out as 1/3. Let's try another one. Okay, again, I like to go from left to right, but you don't have to. Now I can also tell by looking at this, one of the things that I tell my kids is if I drew a picture of a little dude walking on top of this line and he's going right, is he going uphill or downhill? It looks to me like if he's going right, he's going downhill. That means I should have negative slope. On this one, if I draw my little dude on top of this line and he's going right, he's going uphill. So this is going to have positive slope. Okay, I should be able to tell that I've got positive slope. Now, again, I'm going to pick 2 points. I'm going to write rise over run. I'm going to rise up 3. I'm going to run 1. 3 over 1 reduces to 3. The only time we reduce our slope is if it's over 1. We leave improper, well, and if it can be reduced. So for example, if we had a slope of like 6 over 2 or 2 over 6, let's pretend we had a slope of 2 over 6. Well, that can be reduced to 1 over 3. So we would reduce the fraction, but if it's improper, we can leave it improper. The only time we don't write it as a fraction, though, is when it's a whole number. And it's actually okay to leave it as 3 over 1 when you're doing slope. Let's try another one. Okay, for this one, I write rise over run, and I'm going to rise down 3. I'm going to rise right 2. So my slope works out to be negative 3 over 2. And I leave it like that because slope is written as a fraction. Let's try this one. And again, I know it's negative because little dude right here, boop, 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 he's walking downhill going towards the right. Again, this guy, boop, 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 boop. It's more fun when you say it. He's going right, he's going uphill, so I should have positive slope on this one. Rise over run equals, I go up 3 over 2, so my slope is positive 3/2.